thanks. Developing right now tonight, new development in the story of an industrial waste site built in Monona County without notifying local leaders. Now, the group behind the site sent a letter to the Monona County Board of Supervisors, and it's the latest communication since the big meeting this past Tuesday. So here's what we know at this time. A company out of Sioux City that has not been identified will use this site. It's located about 3 miles northeast of Castana. Hawthorne Land Holdings built the site without notifying Monona County leaders. The site is designed to hold a solid byproduct pressed from hog manure. Representatives from the site developers Hawthorne Land Holdings spoke with Monona County supervisors Tuesday about the work that's been done at this site. And the group claims they have worked with the Iowa DNR throughout the process, but there are many unknowns in the community about how we got to this point and what's next. And that's where we bring in KTIV's Taylor Deckard. She's been following this story and trying to get some answers. So Taylor, what can you tell us tonight?
Yes, as you've said, Hawthorne Land Holdings says it worked with the Iowa DNR throughout the process, and in one way they did. The group says it contacted the DNR office in Des Moines, but the DNR's local field office says it only found out after receiving complaints.
We've been working with the DNR.
Iowa DNR reps at Tuesday's meeting claim that's not the case. Allison Manns is an environmental specialist with the DNR's field office in Atlantic, Iowa. She says she wasn't notified until complaints came in.
We received 4 complaints, followed by numerous phone calls from people that had varying levels of concern. So that's how we got involved.
I did reach out to the DNR representative in Des Moines just to clarify some of the land application requirements.
Justin Sprague, agricultural engineer with Pro Ag Engineering, says under Iowa law, if the amount of waste applied to fields stays below a certain limit, the site qualifies for a permit exemption, meaning no DNR permit is required. Sprague says he reached out to a DNR contact in Des Moines, not the local field office, for guidance on land application rules. Manns acknowledged discussion of a possible future permit if operations change.
When it comes to separation distances, right now they're following, or their intention is to follow, the permit exemption requirements that Justin mentioned in Chapter 121.
Another question at the meeting, what happens if the site eventually moves towards composting?
If you decide to compost, then you get a permit.
If we decided to.
A key unresolved fight is county zoning's authority versus DNR rules. Monona County leaders say they were left in the dark.
Yeah, a lot of questions here. So one big question tonight, Taylor, what's next for the county?
What's next? They are waiting to open a letter that could reveal what this company plans to do next and whether anyone will have the power to change these operations. So if you want to see what happens next, the board meets again Tuesday, July 21st, where residents can continue making public comments. Jessica.
All right, a story we will continue to follow. Taylor, thanks for the update. And what we do now know at this time is that it's a company that's not yet been identified. We talked about that. It's out of Sioux City that's going to use this site. And the state of Iowa has 14 commercial hog slaughter and processing facilities. Now, as for Woodbury County, it has at least 2 large-scale pork processing facilities. We're talking about Seaboard Triumph Foods and Purdue Premium Meat Company, but it's unknown what company is driving this project.
It's coming from one producer, which is a pork facility.
Oh, okay. And what is the name of that producer?
I'm under contract with them folks, and they've asked me not to disclose it.
Now, a spokesperson with Seaboard Triumph Foods responded to our inquiry, saying in part, the property that is identified by address is not associated with Seaboard Triumph Foods. Now, we also reached out to Purdue, but have not yet heard back. As for that letter, KTIV will learn what's in that letter Tuesday morning when the board meets at 11. Read more about the story right now on KTIV.com.